What's up everybody, Alex Comstock here. And this video we're just at our team member here, Luke Ellison's house. We got kind of a little range set up here. We got 3D target in the back. And what we're gonna do tonight is kind of just a shooter bow. Me and Garrett need to get our new red line sights sighted in essentially. We have them set up where the 20 pin is good to go, but we need to set up our sight tape on them because we got multiple pin sliders. So we're gonna do some shooting. Impressions here on the saddle. I mean, I've shot it a few times now, kind of messed around with it. I actually feel pretty dang comfortable with it. A lot more than I would have guessed for being the first time up in a tree. I mean, granted, I'm a couple feet high, so we'll see when I'm 20 feet high, but.
Okay guys, it's September 17th. It means it's the Minnesota archery opener for white-tailed deer. I got my good buddy Nate here. It's about 5:30 a.m. in the morning right now. We're about to head in the woods. We're super jacked up. It's deer season. We're ready to get back at it. And we'll catch up with you guys once we get in the tree this morning. Hopefully we got some action and we see some deer. Alright guys, it's a little after 8 a.m. We've been in the stand for like a couple hours now. Just started raining, so we're probably going to put the camera away. Might think about packing up for the morning. We had 2 does come through this morning, so at least we got to see some deer. I actually ran into a pretty nice buck this morning on the way in here too, heading into one of our bedding areas that we're planning on hunting this evening. So feeling pretty good about tonight. It's supposed to be raining on and off all day today, so we're gonna kind of be dipping and diving all the woods, I think, trying to play with this rain and hopefully get some more action for you guys this evening.
It's a little after 5 here. It is day 2 of Minnesota's bow season. In the tree here tonight with Luke in the same spot where he sat last night. So Luke had a couple bucks in here last night. We're set up tonight in the same tree. Pretty much if King Tut walks in, I'm gonna send the arrow. And any other shooter, we've got a whole litany of shooters. And if those bucks come in, Luke's sending it, and we're gonna get him his biggest buck ever. So we'll see what happens. We've already had a doe as we were setting up come by like 10 yards. The spot's just mint. Acorns everywhere. Garrett right now is over at a new spot in the same public zone that we're hunting. Him and Luke went to today, and another area with a bunch of acorns dropping is just loaded with deer signs. So hopefully between me and Luke or Garrett, we're gonna put a buck down tonight. So it's day 2 of season. It's mildly, it's like not warm or cold. It's kind of mid-60s, comfortable temps, so hopefully deer on the feet and we can see some tonight. Morning of September 19th here in Minnesota. Sitting in the same tree as I sat last night. It was the evening of the 19th now.
Okay guys, it's the evening of September 19th, back in tree stand night.
Well, it's 21st here of the evening. It's about 4:30. Me and Luke just got in the tree, sitting in the same stand that I've pretty much only been hunting. We gave this stand the night off yesterday. 2 nights ago when I hunted at last light, I just got covered up in deer. One of our shooters that we call Mr. Krabs came in, and I could have maybe tried to pull off a shot, but it gets super dark in here. I got a little bit of footage of him, but it was just so dark. He ended up coming by at like 15 yards. And then I stayed in the tree because I just had deer all over. I didn't want to bust them from the tree, so I had Luke come spook them out of here. And while I was waiting, about 15 minutes after dark, the buck that we're calling King Tut, who's our number one who I was after, came through at about 30 yards. At least I believe it was him. It was so dark. I had my binos up and all I saw was just a wall of tines, and I figured it had to be him. He's a giant. But we just had a 30 degree temp drop from the last couple of days. It's been in the mid 80s, and now it's in the mid 50s. We got a rising pressure. I mean, all the conditions are lining up for a good sit tonight. So me and Luke decided to come double up. We got, again, like I've said before, a handful of good bucks in here. Pretty much any buck that comes through, Luke's gonna be shooting. If King Tut comes through, I'm gonna be shooting. And maybe we can get lucky and double up tonight. I kind of have this weird feeling that one of these bucks could show up early, and then if we arrow one, we're just gonna stay in the tree. And you never know. So Garrett's gonna be set up not too far from here, and then I know Caleb's gonna be hunting in Nebraska tonight after his big buck we call Junior. So hopefully between all of us here, someone on the team is able to send an arrow tonight. Fingers crossed, and see if we can make something happen.
All right, well, it's the afternoon of the 22nd now. Wasn't able to do an interview at the end of the night in the tree last night. Long story short, it was wild. We had all 3 shooters in, Sidekick, King Tut, and Mr. Krabs. We were trying to get a shot at Krabs first because he was coming in, and that's the buck that Luke's going to shoot. And then King Tut showed up, and we're trying to get scrambled for me to get a shot. Long story short, never could get a shot at either of them. At one point, Mr. Krabs came through broadside, but Luke couldn't get a shot. So what we're going to do tonight is Garrett's actually on the tree me and Luke ran last night. And me and Luke are going to make a slight shift tonight, about 50, 60 yards. And if the deer come from where they came last night, the bucks, we'll have a shot. And if they come from the other way deer come from, Garrett will have a shot. So we're kind of double teaming this little spot here with these acorns. Drop in, trying to take advantage, and hopefully we can put a buck down tonight. I feel pretty dang confident. Usually it's these hunts we don't see anything, but you never know. Really think that we can make it happen tonight. King Tut's easily the biggest buck that I've ever gone after. So hopefully tonight's the night, and we're gonna go see if we can make it happen.
Okay guys, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I already got some deer moving around me, but it's September 23rd. Pretty sure it's the 23rd, but I'm back in the same tree that me and Alex hunted last night and had the encounter with Sidekick. I'm just back in here hoping to get a shot at Mr. Krabs, or a buck we call King Tut. That's pretty much all I got, so I'll get back to you guys with some action hopefully. Fed right in front of me for, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Looked way too juicy, so pulled back and smoked them, baby. Let's go. Oh, God. I gotta call the boys up. It's time to party. Let's go. Alright guys, we just got to the tree where I took a shot at the G3 buck tonight. We're gonna walk over here to the spot of impact and see what we can see for blood. There's a lion right there.
We got a deer?
Yeah, we got a deer. Oh baby. Oh baby. Oh baby. Oh, he's stiff. Oh. Alright guys, well it's September 23rd. Came in here tonight and hung up in a tree that me and Alex hunted last night. We had an encounter with a buck we call Sidekick. Got up in the tree tonight and had a few does roll in. Sidekick actually walked through at 6 o'clock. Let him walk, and about an hour later, this buck we call the G3 buck right here came walking in and fed on acorns for probably 10 to 15 minutes in front of me, and I worked into probably 15-20 yards and gave me a broadside shot. Stood there for a good minute or two and I couldn't resist. I mean, pretty awesome buck, and I'm happy as hell to put my tag on him. Got all the guys here dragging them out with me. Couldn't ask for much more. I'm super hyped up and ready to film these other guys shoot a couple big ones in here this year, so.
Alrighty, well, it's Sunday, September 25th now. Back in the tree for the first time since Thursday. Had a pretty crazy couple of days. On Friday night, Luke shot a buck we call the G3 buck, beautiful 11-pointer. The same night, our top buck that we call King Tut was shot by another guy, and he wasn't able to recover him. Sounds like they had a dog tracker come in, the same dog tracker that I used last year, and the deer still alive as far as I know. They kicked him up and everything. So today what I decided to do was to come into what we thought his main bedding was. We have pictures of him all summer and in September in this area, all times of the day. I don't know exactly where he was shot, but I know it can't be too far away from this general area, a few hundred yards, but this is like as aggressive as I could get. I feel like I should sit here. Came in here with a trophy line saddle today, and I hung this spot, and then I'll probably sit here tomorrow morning, and I kind of go from there. And then I don't know if I'm going to keep hunting this deer hard or putting cameras out, because at that point, we don't really know if he's going to survive or not. The dog tracker said he might be dying, like you could see him dying from infection, so we'll see. But there's another, I talked to the guy who shot him, and the buck that I've passed a couple times, we call Mr. Krabs, is what we believe to be a 6.5-year-old. So knowing that now, I may shoot him. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Could be a game time decision, but see what happens here. Gonna settle in, got a few hours till dark, and see what happens.
Alright guys, well I'm just finishing up editing the video here, and I wanted to come on here and talk about King Tut for a minute. You know, so King Tut essentially was the biggest buck I'd ever been after. You know, me, Garrett, and Luke, all of us. You know, he was, you know, straight up giant. You know, pretty much it's just what it comes down to. We had pictures and videos of him all summer. You know, we had a really good idea of exactly where he was bedding and at least a couple of his main bedding areas. And we figured that our best chance at this buck was going to be right in the beginning of the season. We had pretty much a patch of oak trees that were dropping a ton of acorns, and we thought if we were going to get him shot, just based on history we have of this area from knowing other people who've hunted it in the past and whatnot, figured that we were going to get him shot. It was going to be early in this spot, and we almost pulled it off. You know, a couple hunts before, couple days before Luke shot the G3 buck, we ended up, you know, it's hard to tell in that video, just it was where our tree was. We just weren't set up right, but we ended up having him in bow range for like 45 minutes. Just could never get a shot, which was crazy. He ended up coming to 20, 25 yards, but by then it was too dark to shoot. Obviously couldn't film any of that. And then a couple days later he gets shot. And, you know, after he got shot, the guy who shot him, you know, reached out to me. We were able to talk about it. And, you know, I feel terrible for the guy because, you know, he's been after this deer for 3 years. So a lot longer than me. And long story short, you know, the shot wasn't, you know, the deer was a little bit quartering away more than he thought. You know, it was actually a pretty well-placed arrow. But long story short, you know, about a week after he got shot, we started getting cell cam pics of coyotes. And so we figured that King Tut had to be, you know, probably dead and close. So me, Luke Garrett, we called the hunter who shot him, let him know about the cell cam pictures of the coyotes, said let's go in and look for this deer. And we went and looked for him. And I kid you not, within like 3 minutes of walking, we found him dead. But this is where it gets crazy, is his head was cut off. So it's just wild. I mean, he ended up dying right kind of where I hunted in the last clip from the video here. Really close to his main bedding area. It's just, it's terrible. You know, we are in a city hunt. We are in an urban, you know, it's a suburban area. It's close proximity to houses, to hiking trails, whatnot. It's just a crappy deal. You know, he was our top target going into the year, and now we really haven't had much to go after. But, you know, I feel the most terrible for the hunter who shot the buck, as in, like I said, he hunted the deer for 3 years with a pretty well-placed arrow, and just, it's a shame, really. So that's the story with King Tut, and why you won't be seeing us referencing him anymore the rest of the year, why we won't be hunting him. You know, he did end up dying, and he just, you know, his head was cut off, which was unfortunate. So that's that. Now we're pressing on. We just had a nice shooter show up last night over cell cam, first buck. That shooter that showed up in a while. So hopefully things start heating up here as we get in through October and into November, and look forward to more videos this fall. Appreciate you watching. If you do me a big favor and hit that like and subscribe button below, that'd be awesome. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you here in the next video.